What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, this one's weird. I mean, it's kind of like two different topics. I'm gonna brush up against both of them. Pause, no diddy. So Atari has purchased Intellivision. Now, for you youngins, y'all youngins out there that y'all don't know what Atari is, or Intellivision for that matter, that was the original console war. Actually, I'm gonna be real, it wasn't really about Atari versus Intellivision. I mean, it was for hot seconds, but it was more about ColecoVision versus Atari. That's where I had it, because I had an Atari 2600. Well, I didn't have it because I was a little kid, but my family had it, and my cousin had, I don't think he had an Atari 2600, but he did have a ColecoVision. And the ColecoVision was way better than Atari 2600. And I remember playing Smurf Adventure on and a lot of stuff. But anyway, Atari sued the hell out of ColecoVision for making that Atari 2600 adapter for the ColecoVision. That killed, and you don't see Cabbage Patch Kids anymore because Atari sued Coleco and Coleco went out of business. That's why you don't see those anymore. Anyway, tangent. So yeah, that's happening. And I've heard people like, oh, that's great. So now they're still going to release the games on the Amico or license them. And I'm like, the Amico? Y'all still talking about that? Okay. And then I started thinking, why would anyone try to make a new console unless it was like a handheld, like the Steam Deck, like the Rogue Ally, but it's not actually a bespoke console with their own bespoke games. It's a computer that plays, it's a Steam Deck alternative, basically. And so that's the only way that a third party could make a portable console that would play Xbox and PlayStation games, right? Let's put Steam aside. The games that are on Steam that are PlayStation games, right? Sony would never allow a third party to make a handheld that played their games, right? They want to get all that money. And that's the dream. I mean, it's not the dream, because sometimes you get some third party stuff that just doesn't work. And they tried that in consoles back in the 90s with the 3DO and what was it, Panasonic, and who else made one? There was a couple of different ones. I just don't remember. I just remember Panasonic made the original 3DO. And I think somebody else had a different version of it. Or anyway, y'all can correct me in the comments below. But they tried that back in the day. The only problem with those is that the games weren't that good and the consoles were too much money. So there you go. That's always the problem with these video game consoles, right? Too much money, games suck. Anyway, yeah, Atari buying ColecoVision, Intellivision, excuse me. It's not moving the needle enough. I think Atari's making some okay moves right now, but what Atari needs to do is get on the same page that Sega is doing right now. Now, Sega's stuff hasn't come to fruition yet, but from that trailer that they showed with Streets of Rage and freaking Golden Axe and Crazy Taxi and Shinobi and some other game that I can't remember right now. I'm missing one of them, but I can't remember what it was. But with those, I'm like, yo, just getting Sega fans hyped. I'm a Sega fan, right? So, I mean, I don't think there's too many Atari fans out there, to be honest. But if they do what they do the right way, kind of like, I know they tried to do like the whatever, I forgot, the remaster, or not remaster, I forgot what they called them, but versions of old Atari games. And I'm like, okay, that's a start, but expand upon the universes that y'all, I mean, I know Activision, I guess Activision owns Pitfall. I don't even know. They made it originally. So I don't know who owns Pitfall. I don't know who owns all these games. And it's not like, think about the Atari licenses, the Atari IPs. They were simple games. It's like, here's an adventure game. Let's call it Adventure. And you're a dot with a sword sticking out of it. And you're killing the dragon that looks like a duck. It's weird stuff, right? But they could make the biggest Skyrim ripoff and call it Adventure HD, or I don't know what they would call it. It'd have to be called Adventure, or the Adventure, like the really small Adventure of Charlie Doohickle or whatever. I don't know, some person's name. Charlie Doohickle. I just made that name up. I don't know. That sounds like an old timey, right? Like he made bread. He wasn't an adventurer, but the plague, the dark dragon plague came through his village and killed everybody, or no, petrified everybody into comas, and he's immune because he ate poppy seed bagel the day before. I don't see. I'm making a better story than the original. I'm not. Anyway, I think Adventure is it's a nice RPG thing that they can do. But the problem with it is that they would have to make an actual game. They can't be like, oh, let's make a remake of. No. You need to make an RPG with a dragon and be third person, action adventure. Let's go. It has to look like, I don't know, what's it gonna look like? God of War or some shit? God of War? Maybe. Is it gonna look like whatever? Or Senua's Sacrifice? I mean, that's the benchmark now. So it's gotta look like actually, that's too much for Atari. You think Atari could make a game that looks like Senua's Saga? Hellblade 2? I don't think so. That's a little too. That's aiming too high. But I guess what was that? Warlords? That's another good one. How could they do that though? I mean, I know they did HD versions of that, but that could be an RTS. It's basically what it kind of was. It wasn't an RTS. It was just a bumper paddle game, but they could turn Warlords into an RTS, right? Or TBS, turn-based RT. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think real-time strategy would be better. RTS, because that's what it was real-time before. So yeah, RTS, that'd be dope. And you guys have, it's a giant map, and every corner has a castle, and it's terrain or whatever. It's a mountain, here's the valley, here's the river, blah, 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 here's the desert part, and you just got to go out and kill it'd be a long time. Maybe it's, 15-minute rounds or something. I don't know. But that'd be cool. They could do something like that. What else do they have? I mean, Yars' Revenge. I know did they try? I think they did a remake master of that. Once again, Yars' Revenge needs to be totally reconfigured. It could be dope, but you have to make new games off of these IPs. You take the IP and you make a new game. And those original games are just so vague. It's like, oh, you're a spaceship and you're shooting a space wasp or something. I'm like, okay, sure. We could make a new game out of that. Or, what was the other one I was thinking about? It was Yars' Revenge, and it was, Defender. They did Defender back in the day in original Xbox, because I bought that for like $7, and I was like, it was okay. Yeah, I don't know if Defender, because Defender is basically like Choplifter. They're all kind of the same side scroll. You pick up the people, drop them off, blah blah blah. I mean, like I said, they tried it. And it was alright, but once again, they could do something where it is kind of a third-person action game where, sure, there's some flying of a ship, but maybe you get out of the ship and you go into like a map and you're doing some third-person shooting, cover shooter or something. Like I said, they need to apply modern sensibilities as far as gameplay mechanics and stuff to these older properties. You just can't remake the old games, because those old games have very simplistic gameplay. And it's good for a phone or something. But if you want to make some waves and have people play it, do that. Also, make them all multiplayer. I'm just kidding. Defender multiplayer. Well, Warlords could be multiplayer. Adventure could be, and then it's an MMO kind of, sort of. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, Atari bought Intellivision. Would be. Maybe it'll do basketball. Anyway. So I want to talk about this other topic. I was listening to Jeff Grubb, Morning Mess, whatever it's called. And I'm about done with them too. I mean, I like Giant Bomb. as a whole, mainly Jeff Bacalor. I like them all when they're just doing the regular show, but Jeff Grubb kind of, I would say, influences a lot of or maybe it's just the popular opinion to automatically like PlayStation, give them the benefit of the doubt, and doubt Xbox and don't give them no benefits, taxes. Because that's what happened in, not the latest one, but the one before, the mess mornings. And Jan Ochoa. He was on there. And they were talking about Xbox possibly getting Steam, or possibly buying Valve, but also what they really were talking about is Jez Gordon said that Steam is definitely going to be on the next Xbox console. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were poo-pooing like, what is Microsoft doing? I have no confidence in what Xbox is going to be in the future, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, right? They're talking, saying all this bad, negative stuff, not positive, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, what is causing this emotion? What is causing people to act this way, right? I mean, I guess it's kind of a mob mentality where it's like everybody, or like a lot of people are feeling down or whatever, so I'm going to feel down too. And I'm like, I'm looking at Microsoft, right? And I'm looking at Xbox. I'm looking at what they're doing. And I'm looking at the money they're making. And I'm looking at Call of Duty. And I'm looking at Senua Saga, Hellblade 2. And I'm looking at Indiana Jones coming up. And I'm looking at Doom, whatever the heck, I forgot what the subtitle is for that. And I'm looking at all these games. And I'm like, I don't feel the same way. I don't feel like I don't know what Xbox is doing. I don't know where they're going. I know what they're doing. They're making moves to ensure that they don't fall into one of those Sony traps, which is, oh, we're just going to do what we think will sell. I mean, that's what everybody does, but Sony's been on the same page for a minute, and it hasn't been working, and they're still trying to force it. It's not working. And now they have to change. They are forced to change, and the growing pains are going to be immense, and Sony fanboys are not going to like that. Tim Pony is going to flip-flop right back to Xbox because he's going to be like, oh, wow, PlayStation is doing exactly what Xbox is doing, except worse. And they haven't put out a new game, a new IP in how long? What was it? Returnal was the last one? And there's a rumor that the Astrobot's supposed to have another game. Anyway, that's whatever. But this whole gloom and doom thing, I'm like, why? Why is everybody so down on Xbox? Why? Because they put 4 games on PlayStation? Or 2 games on PlayStation, 2 games on Nintendo Switch? Is that why? And they're old ass games? Is that why? Really? That's enough to get grown people upset? I don't get it. I mean, I'm an Xbox fan, more so a Sega fan, but I conjugated. And that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. And it's look, video games. If video games were going extinct, if video games were going to end, if video games were going to change in a way that I couldn't follow, I might be a little upset, but then I would find a new hobby. I'd be all right. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is Xbox is looking at the landscape, taking the temperature in the room and saying, handheld, Steam on all our boxes, Call of Duty. I think that's all we need to do, and we should be good. But people are like, oh man, they have to do this and that. If they didn't have Call of Duty, then they would be doomed, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? And I'm sorry, what's PlayStation doing right now? They're about to release a PlayStation 5 Pro. Nobody wants it. Jan Ochoa, who is relatively positive on PlayStation, he was kind of giving a doubt about Xbox and stuff. He said himself, paraphrasing, I have no need for a PlayStation 5 Pro. He said that. And he's like, oh yeah, PlayStation is great and stuff, and Xbox, I don't know what they're doing. I have no confidence in Xbox, paraphrasing. But that's what he said. And so him leaning more towards confidence in PlayStation, I would assume, he ain't gonna buy the new PlayStation. So when you have people who are like, I got confidence in PlayStation, but I'm not buying that. Why would I buy? I got a big giant 5 right here. It works just fine. I don't need that. And also, another thing, I know I talked last video about the 50% still on PlayStation 4. That's another reason that they don't mention that. You know, yeah, Jeff Grubb had said, he gave the story, but it's almost like they say the words like, oh yeah, PlayStation 5, PlayStation, PSN users, only 50% are still on PS4. That should be an alarm bell to PlayStation fans and ponies and donkey unicorns that, Sony's not doing as well as they want to be doing. Because remember what Jim Ryan said in the beginning? He said, we want people to move over to the PlayStation 5 platform as quickly as possible. That's what they wanted. Guess what? That's not quickly enough. That's not it. 50%? That's not it. And like I said in the last video, I don't think the math was right because I think they just took the 53 or 59, times it by 2. They said, oh, that's half of 18. Oh, that's what it is. Only half. I'm like, okay, that's a good guesstimate, but I don't think there's 59 PSN users on PlayStation. 59 million. There isn't. They shipped 59. They didn't sell 59. Okay, we're not doing that again. Anyway, the whole doom and gloom is dumb. They're gonna the proof is in pudding. The proof is in the games, and look, the tax is real. We all know this. We're looking at the Hellblade reviews, and some people are giving it 45s and 40s and 32s or whatever. I'm like, look, I already know it. It's a foregone conclusion. I'm not gonna sweat it that much. Okay, the game is good. When Digital Foundry praises your stuff, when IGN's Digital Foundry praises your stuff, that's what I'm gonna have to call them from now on. Then you know there's something there. I don't know how much credibility Digital Foundry will have past the acquisition. We'll see. I have seen that IGN is trying to do more Digital Foundry stuff. It was out of their UK office, I think, and they were doing a comparison. Look at this and that. And I was like, why are y'all doing this again? Yeah, I mean, y'all just bought Digital Foundry. Just let them do whatever. But yeah. Anyway, I'm Rimble Rambles. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think about Atari buying Intellivision. I know y'all don't care. I barely care. I just had to say something because that was the original console war. So, I mean, look, Intellivision was better than Atari 2600. Let's be real. But anyway, and let me know what y'all think about all this doom and gloom on Xbox's, future. No confidence in Xbox brand and all that stuff. It's so goofy. But when Call of Duty drops in Game Pass, and then everybody starts moving over, that's the narrative will change because everybody's gonna be like, I'm playing on Xbox. I'm playing on Xbox. I got Game Pass. I'm playing on Xbox. Or maybe they'll still be negative. They just say, I'd be dumb not to play it on Xbox. And you know what? Microsoft, Xbox, they won't care. If you're still negative on Xbox, but you're playing Call of Duty through Game Pass on Xbox, they don't care what your reasoning is. The fact that you're playing, the fact that you're paying, that's all they care about. So whatever. Public perception be damned. They're gonna business. They're gonna do their business, and that's what's gonna happen. So, but I appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Till the wait.